Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, guys. It is Wednesday, the 17th of June. And today, you finished your A levels ish. Ish. I mean, granted, okay, most of you have your final one tomorrow and like a final one on Friday. But like, this is where we're going to celebrate it because let's be real, the second you get out of that final exam room, you're just going to want to. You're going to want to go. You're going to want to be anywhere but here, anywhere but educational YouTube. I know, less than 24 hours to freedom. Exciting times. I'm glad to see there's such a positive reception, by the way, on the MEI ones I've been doing. Mainly because I seem to be the only one doing them. So I'm glad people now have some resource to work with. But what papers have happened since I last had one of these with you guys? Quite a lot. Math 2, I haven't seen you since. FM1. Discrete/decision yesterday. Oh, brilliant. Glad to see they help. Yeah. The MEI ones, they're just fun as well. Because for me, I've done the Edexcel ones for ages. And so to get to do the MEI with a bit of creative problem solving is just, it keeps things, fresh, interesting, very good fun. And I'm very much enjoying doing them. I mean, granted, I'm not going to be doing one now until like January, but yeah, how have you guys found the papers since last I saw you? And do you guys have any final questions for the math tomorrow? Super happy to find out. And as always, this is one where I really like to respond to the chat. So if anyone's in, you got anything to say, feel free to post and I'll react away. Also, hard stop today. I've got a session at 5:30, but I thought this one would be probably a bit less sort of well attended. I think people have a little less things to debrief about. Although, you said hello. You're saying you're really bad at sequences. Think about the fundamentals, just the basic fundamentals about what a sequence is. If it's arithmetic, the fact that you're adding the same thing every time. If it's geometric, the fact you're multiplying by the same thing every time. I know that sounds trivial, but I genuinely find if you just remind yourself what things mean, it can be really helpful in getting to the end of a problem. Ooh, what are the main differences between MEI and Edexcel? Well, obviously the fact that you spread out the mechanics and the statistics differently. Your stats is just different. Like I do find across boards that the particulars of a stat syllabus are always changed. But the big one is that paper 3, the paper 3 comprehension section. That's definitely the weirdest one. For me, Edexcel is like my home base. I really like Edexcel. I like the fact that it's just pures by itself, and then you get to dump all of the applied stuff right at the end. And it's just fun. And so, well, Edexcel's got a really good further math as well. Although the downside is, of course, that Edexcel, like I've sort of mentioned in the past, they just dump all the parts of the question and then give you a block of text to write it in. So the question paper and the answer booklet are one. But it does mean that it can be easier to like miss out a part of a question and just want to like combust as soon as you leave the exam room and find out. Have I tried OCRA? I have tried, I think, a single set of the OCRA. I think I did a couple sets of the Edexcel, one set of the OCRA, few sets of the OCRB. I tried an Edexcel. No, I tried an AQA. And the AQA, I genuinely did one and gave up because I was like, what do you mean there's multiple choice? Like the AQA was just not fun. It was, no. So if you're doing AQA, hope you enjoy your A stars. No, I'm joking. It's totally okay if you don't get the A stars. OCRA, no, OCR is good. OCR is good. Again, though, I prefer the Edexcel way of putting all the applied together at the end. I think I'll definitely because that's what's going to happen now is I'm about to go into the admission cycle, like from next week, talking about the ESAT, maybe a bit of the TMUA as well. And that's going to take me right the way through like the October sitting. Then we're going to get onto interviews. for Oxbridge, and then we're going to get back into the sort of the TMUA and the ESAT for the January sitting. The second all that's over, that's when I start to get back on the summer cycle, and that's when I'm going to go through and do some of these extra math papers. It is true. Papers are really unpredictable. Like you're right that you can almost guarantee for Edexcel that you're gonna see like a 2D, like a ladder problem, some sort of 2D moments problem. Um, but yeah, that's sort of the roll of the dice. Sometimes you really prepare a topic and it does not come up. And then you're like, oh man, what was the point in that? And the point was that you were prepared. Because it's like you're ready for anything, right? It's that preparedness, that feeling like bring it, bring an examiner, what you got? I've got this. That level of confidence, I think, is something you want to carry into the room. So it's definitely not wasted effort. I am so curious. It's a shame I couldn't do this tomorrow, because if I could do this tomorrow, I genuinely would, because I really want to find out how the MEI paper 3 goes. So like, if you guys come out of that and you feel like you want to just like spam my comment section, just letting me know, venting it, getting it out of your system, I want to find out. I want to know. Any final tips for applied tomorrow? Yes. For stats, look at the things that are less well examined. These are things like the normal approximation to the binomial distribution. These are things like the continuous uniform or the discrete uniform distribution. Things like hypothesis test for correlation. Because it's one of those things where you know it or you don't. And if you need it and you don't know it, you're screwed. So definitely make sure you go through all of those. Know the very particulars about how exactly you find your median and your mean, your quartiles for continuous data, for discrete data, which can vary from board to board. So I know for Edexcel, it's you do n over 4. If that is an integer, you take half the value of that, of n and n plus 1. And if it's not an integer, then you just round up and you take that value. Like there's a set of things they just want you to know for their specific board. If you do that, you'll be fine. So definitely cover that for the stat side if you still have that to go. On the mechanics side, make sure you're really, really comfortable on projectiles, sorry, my board's a little, why are you dusty? So projectiles, moments problems, making sure you're really good with like events and episodes, how to do like when one suvat goes into another, when you have like a pulley problem, for instance, that kind of thing. Vectors, suvats, make sure you know your signs, right? If it's in the positive direction, it's positive. If it's against the positive direction, it has to be negative. Right, coming back to these. Ooh, it would be very fun to watch me sit the Gao Cow, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Apologies if I'm not. A lot of people have said that about the JEE, and I'm not really one for public humiliation, so maybe not. But I've not heard of that one, the Gao Cow. I'll write that one down. Because I don't think I'll remember that. The JEE comes up so much. It's like my secret nemesis in the shadows, like the sort of the secret villain in the TV show hasn't quite made its appearance yet. Right. Let the topics come up. Yeah, what things haven't come up? So you're saying partial fractions, differential equations, integration by parts, these kinds of things. And yeah, by this stage in the game where you've only got one paper left, you have sat quite a few. You know what's come up. You know it's already been tested. And so you can be a little bit sort of more on the ball when it comes to the stuff that hasn't come up yet. A trapezium rule. Yes, numerical methods, cobweb/staircase diagrams. Remember, it's vertical to the curve, horizontal to the line. Always there. Sequences in series, geometric, modeling, that kind of thing. Okay. Harmonic form. Yes, a lot of people neglect the harmonic form. All exams have been decent so far. All right, tell me you don't do Edexcel without telling me you don't do Edexcel. MEI had a really nice integration by substitution question in paper two. Oh, I've never seen a U be a full quadratic like that. I mean, you say that like the response was bad enough that it's like it made the news, didn't it? Like people hated EdXL paper one. I know people who like really hated it. I do also know people who liked it, but it was like newsworthy bad, sort of generally speaking. Ooh, someone has a question for the MEI. Yeah, maybe. Oh my God. There's a 3,000 signature petition to do with that at Excel paper. Damn. Well, I mean the grade boundaries will be low. If nothing else, then if you did well, know that you've really benefited from that. Okay, but you wouldn't think it's that bad because it's not the same when it's the real one when you're in the exam room. Like that's why I'm like, oh, of course they're fine. What am I doing? I'm just doing it for fun in my like little office. It's not the same as sort of the real one when you're in the exam room and it really counts. That pressure changes things. That sort of turns your brain off. And especially because it was the first, when was that? For a lot of people, was that the first A level? I know it was. No, math was late. Math was entirely after half term. So yeah, people had sort of settled in. So it's not like it was the first exam of the season. I know. But that's the one. That's the headline. Like in a lot of years, I've gone through and it's been AQA's physics that have just been bombs. Like the paper twos, bombs. The paper threes, diabolical. So it's good to see that they've sorted that out. And this year, the biggest issue seems to be at Excel paper one. But the fact that across the board there haven't been that many complaints indicates they've probably got this year quite right in terms of the level. / you guys are just very good. Which is also entirely possible as people who are seeking out educational YouTube. I have seen the paper. I have seen the paper for EdXL paper one. Yes. Put yourself in mind. But also there's a benefit to the fact that I've been kind of like demonstrating these for so long. You can almost get a sense of my cadence. It's quite, people have said it's quite calming. And if you adopt it, it can actually calm down your sort of reptilian brain and free up your frontal cortex for some proper thinking. So it's not the worst strategy. Paper two was kind of free. Don't know how tomorrow's going to go. Yeah. Good luck. Definitely good luck. And you really want that last one to go well to give you that momentum going into the summer, right? You want to come out in a celebratory mood. So let's talk about, the general exam technique, right? Like if you're getting too bogged down in a question, make sure you skip it to maximize the other marks you get. You can always come back to it. There's also the issue of rereading the question after you've done it to make sure you've actually answered it. So there's a lot of people I see who are slightly misreading questions or don't get to the end of a question. So that kind of thing. Checking if you are on EdXL going into the stats and mech, it's much more difficult. It's not usually the case that it's like algebra where you just have a value you can plug back into the equation to get a clean zero, or the same with trig, right? So it's going to be a lot of making sure that you've laid out your diagrams very correctly, make sure you've included all of your forces, and just if you have a good diagram, then chances are you've done it right. But that is super important for making sure you do well in these papers. Stats, just be really careful because have a sense check of what answers you should be getting from your calculator so you know roughly whether you've done something wrong or not. Always worth redoing it when it's super calculator heavy just to make sure that you didn't mistype anything. 2025 comprehension was easy. I wouldn't know about that. That hasn't been published yet. 2024, let's be real. I found all the comprehensions not easy, but fun. Like I think 24 and 23 were difficult just because I was still getting used to it. Also, yeah, I'm seeing message retracted. I'm wondering if there's like, are you deleting that or is that like an auto moderator thing? Because I'm really curious to see if it's auto moderating, like what it's moderating out. Like, are you guys being nasty in the chat? My chat would never. Um, yeah, you surprised. Hold on, let me check. Let me catch up in the chat. Yeah, last year. Oh, yeah, talking more about that AQA physics. It's been diabolical from like 2022 to last year, and now they finally got their act together. You're hoping the comprehension is good. Some are a lot easier than others. That also depends on how much you like a topic. Like if you enjoy coordinate geometry, if you enjoy differentiating to find a gradient and then finding the tangent line, then something on that topic is going to be, very in your wheelhouse. So hopefully you get good topics that work for you. And it's lots of show that, so at least you know you're correct. Yep, like you said. Yeah, sorry. Keep reading, Patrick. Yes, you yourself just said that. You're right. A lot of show that's so you know with certainty whether you got it right. Yeah, I have. Do you know what? I noticed that too with MEI. I don't know what it is. Like with the EdXL and the OCR, it takes me the full 2 hours, but the MEI ones, for some reason, I get it done in an hour, and I really don't know why that is. I think it's because in paper 1 and 2, section A is just a bit easier anyway, so I kind of tend to rush it. And then in paper 3, section A is a lot more involved, but I kind of just want to rush it to get to the fun section B part. Don't worry about doing it as quickly as I did. Do I think the paper deserves 2 hours? Not really. Not for what it is. I suppose it's not really for me to say, but yeah, you're right that I definitely found them a lot faster than the EdXL ones. How should you allocate time? Pure 1 hour and comprehension 1 hour. Well, hopefully you've done enough past papers that you get a sense of your own pacing. So you know better than I do whether running out of time is a problem for you or not. So I had someone in the comments saying they were running out of time because they were doing a question and then immediately sort of redoing it to check. And that was burning a lot of their time, which is why you should do all the questions first and then go back and do your checking, right? So from your practice papers, you should have a rough sense of what your pacing is like, which will also give you a sense of when you're stuck in the mud and should tactically skip. Oh, you can remove your own comments. Okay, good to know. Yeah, the comprehension paper. Well, it depends. I mean, if you comprehend the comprehension paper, then yes, you can get it done in 1:30 or 1:15. If you don't comprehend the comprehension, you need all 2 hours. So I think it's the number of marks they allocate. Okay. 2 hours is very generous for those, but also that's why I really enjoyed doing those as we moved through exam season, because it means I had to like block out not as much time, which was a very, very handy. Yeah, 2 hours is fine. 2 hours is fine for the MEI, definitely. True, the MEI does require more thinking. And you could see when I was solving them as well, like sorry, I'm just like super fidgety. I'm like constantly adjusting. But when I was doing the MEI, I remember you watched me kind of really deep in thought go, it's this, and then it's this, and therefore it's this, and therefore it's this. And it definitely required a lot more sort of focus, tight focus. And I can imagine it's one of those papers where it can be very easy to make a small execution error and then end up on an answer that isn't the show that and needing to take multiple runs at it. Another thing I spotted with the MEI is you don't get a lot of room. So making good use of that additional space they give you at the end of the answer paper is probably what you guys are going to need to do. How do you improve pacing and accuracy? You feel like it varies. You get a sense of when you're getting stuck in the mud. So when it's free flowing, each line is moving quickly into the next line. You feel like you're getting through the question quite well. You can get a sense of when you're just sort of rearranging stuff in equations and not really going anywhere. And at that point, I would just stop and skip. In terms of checking, that's one of the reasons I've been demonstrating the math live solves, is to demonstrate good checking technique. you can usually find some good way of substituting back in to form a 0 to know with certainty if you're correct. And that checking will let you know about the accuracy. You should also have a good, clear idea of the types of inaccuracies you make. So I call those execution errors. I know mine. I am really bad with sign errors. As soon as there's like signs changing, negative signs into a bracket, I have to stop and slow down to make sure, because I'm like, I'm about to make a mistake. Not today. But also, for some reason, my brain is really bad at adding and subtracting 9. Don't know why, just is. Because brains just have bits in them. They're like weak spots, right? Pressure points. And so if you do enough papers, you get a clear sort of diagnostic picture of what your brain's good at and where your brain is likely to just make a brain fart, right? And that can lead you to sort of anticipate it. So I kind of describe it as being like the sort of rainbow road on Mario Kart, where it's like, no, not that corner again. I've fallen off there 10 times. And so you learn that the corner's coming. You slow down a little bit. You take the corner a little bit more deliberately, not fall off. Okay. And then you can go off racing again. And it's the same thing when you know you're coming up to something where you tend to make execution errors. Someone saying MEI is really rewarding if you've done lots of hard questions in prep. Oh, yes, Mattis Maths is really good. That is very difficult, though. But I get what you mean about sort of overtraining. Training to do more than the paper will require of you. So by the time you hit the paper, you're totally fine. How do I rank the exam boards in terms of enjoyability? I mean, Edexcel's got to be number one, guys. Like, Edexcel's just great. Like, I would probably genuinely put it, I would put it Edexcel, OCRB, OCRA, AQA. Because personally, I find AQA trash. But that's just a personal opinion. That's just for how I enjoy it. Like, I just did not enjoy the AQA. It didn't feel like it was doing anything. I don't... but also there's some utility to, especially if you run out of papers for your exam board, you can cross-pollinate. Like, you can try and do papers from other boards, because at a certain point, math is math. The only difficulty comes, like I say, in the stats, where there are slight differences between the syllabuses in terms of what they require. But apart from that, it can be really good. Oh, someone is challenging me about the AQA robotic arm question. I'm talking about AQA math there, not physics. AQA is boss when it comes to physics. True, OCRB students should try OCRA papers if you run out. Of course, it won't help you with paper 3, but it will help you with everything else. And the format is what you're very used to. So that should, you're right. That would be the first place to go if you were sort of in one of the OCR streams and run out of papers. You should definitely go to the other. I'm also like, I should do a debrief on results day, shouldn't I? I know I'm going to have to check in with a lot of people on results day. So I'm going to make sure I check in with all my sort of individual students, do a debrief. Because what you find with tutoring, by the way, you don't really get a proper goodbye, because like you're working right up until the last minute. I had students today where I'm like, bye, but not really, because you got to stay focused. Like, we can't have this sort of sentimentality because we're not done. You got your exam tomorrow. So we tend to use results day to kind of like look back, have that good sort of like, we did it, that sort of triumphal sort of closure end of the story. So definitely going to spend some time with students dipping in, making sure everyone's okay, but I'll definitely as well put time on the clock to sort of dip in and see how you guys did sort of across the board, especially because results day is so interesting for A-levels in particular, because you're also, it's not just the results, it's also the university offers, right? It's then looking ahead like, oh, who else got into this place? Like, you start to really imagine yourself in the university you just got accepted to. Oh, while we're on the topic, so my number one piece of advice for results day, guys, this is important. The first thing you check is not your results. The first thing you check is UCAS. The reason why is because it is entirely possible that you have missed your offer, but still been allowed in, right? So I have that has happened. That happened to a student of mine last year. If she had checked her results, she would have thought she missed out on her Oxford place. But then she went and but because she went to UCAS first, she was like, I got Oxford, and then saw the results. Was like, oh, god damn it! But also, I got Oxford, and that's just a much better way around, right? So it just avoids that panic. Yes, I will definitely do a results day stream, and I should let you know ahead of time when that's going to be. I'll need to plan that though. I'll need to coordinate with my students to see roughly when they'll want time. Because the thing is though, like when you're in the morning, I know they've changed it now. Because back in my day, we used to have in-person results day. You would go into the school and get your physical letter, but now it's all online. There's not the same sort of camaraderie, right? There's not the same sort of like everyone getting together and celebrating or commiserating together, right? And so I normally I would say, oh, I would never catch up with students in the morning, but maybe I would. Maybe I would sort of put that in the morning and we can kind of hang out in the afternoon. But that's all stuff we can check closer to the time. So what? Yeah, well, so checking UCAS, just check the UCAS because really at this point the A levels are to make sure you've got the uni offer, right? And so doing that is just like it's. I mean, granted, if you check UCAS and you got rejected, that's a problem, and you can get on it. Then you go into the results immediately. You kind of work it out if you're going to go through clearing or something. But for a lot of people, it'll be sort of reassuring to check that UCAS. Oh, I'm glad that some schools still make you go in. That's good. Could always do a short one at like 9 p.m. I don't know who would join at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. on results day. You guys should be celebrating. What are you doing joining my live stream? No. Okay, that's good. It's good that people have sort of come back to that tradition because you can imagine COVID ruined everything. So yeah. My live stream, you're right. My live stream is the celebration. Okay, but there's also like the IRL stuff also matters. The hanging out with your friends. The issues that people are going to be celebrating all day. Maybe I'll just have like a continuous, just a slow dribble of like 2 people at a time, spending 5 minutes each in the sort of online thing. In the no, but results day is so much fun because like. I mean, unless it didn't go well, obviously, because they're like, it's going to be really stressful for people who miss their offers, having to deal with, the careers advisors in the school, like having clearing options available. Like it is a really stressful time. Like I remember I had a friend who got into somewhere for medicine and then missed her offer. And it like, she honestly, to this day is like results day was the worst day of my life. She is now a doctor, so it's okay. She ended up okay. No comment. I cannot encourage such miscreants. I don't even know if that's a proper noun. Anyway, so it sounds like, to be honest, I'm really enjoying where people are at. Like, it doesn't seem like a lot of people are just that distressed about what has happened in exam season, because normally they are, which is why I really wanted to do these, to be like, it's okay, guys, it's not as bad as it looks. Oh, the unpredictability of essay-based subjects. Yeah. It can be. It certainly can be. Although I do find that math can be quite diabolical as well in terms of just like the bell curve of it. Like it's very easy to slip from an A to a C in terms of like the sort of core understanding, right? But yeah, no, honestly, I'm really happy with how exam season has gone. I'm happy that there haven't been like a load of complaints. I'm happy that there aren't people like constantly asking me for help with this question or that question, or worried that it's going to bomb their entire series. Yeah, you guys just got good papers. You should really come. I mean, granted, there's still time for tomorrow to go diabolically wrong. Knock, knock, knock. Not going to happen. But like, it seems like this year has been good. You guys have had a good year, and the good thing about having a good year is it means that you have the opportunity to prove what you actually know. Like it gives you a chance to like really show what you got, show your true potential, and kind of come away with no regrets. Like I've got people who did, the diabolical physics papers who were like, I didn't get to show what I learned. So it's good. I think you guys have got a good run of it, and you're going to be able to show some good work. But yes, I think that's, to be honest, that might be about everything. Like, I'm happy to keep chatting. I've got another 10 minutes on the clock, but yeah, that's why I thought today could be a little bit shorter, just sort of coming to the end, seeing if anyone had any of these questions. Mainly for tomorrow, it seems like retrospectively, no one seems to have any issues with the further math, for instance. I haven't heard a peep about the further math. I don't. Yeah, the MEI, that's slowly rising up the ranks of like really interesting. I'm gonna want to get a good look at your papers. Oh, how could I forget the large data set? All right, let's discuss. What you do is you learn it. Just learn it. Well, I don't know why all of you are so allergic to learning your large data set. It's not that bad. You have to know the column headings. You have to know what types of data they include. Is it qualitative or quantitative? If it's quantitative, is it discrete or continuous? You should know what units things are measured in. For instance, hectopascals for air pressure, where the average is around 1,010 hectopascals. Thank you very much, as the physicists know. You should know octas are measured in eighths. So it goes from 0 to 8 for amount of the sky that is covered in cloud. You should know the locations. You should know the years. It is May to October of 1987 and 2015. You should know that NA means that the information is not available, typically in the 1987 set, and that if you are taking a sample, some of them might come out with NA, and you need to keep taking sort of sample, like keep looking for things until you fill up your sample size. You need to know how to handle trace, the fact that it means that there is precipitation between 0 and 0.5 millimeters. Because once it hits 0.05, it rounds into the 0.1 category. And that is useful when you are, for instance, trying to find the median. That is all off the top of my head. But you should also, so sometimes they get weird when they start to talk about like wind direction. Oh, the Beaufort nonsense. Blah, just learn that. While we're here, all of you should also spend some time today, if you have any stats tomorrow, going through your sampling methods. Simple random, systematic random, including the fact that the first one has to be chosen at random from the first interval to make it proper random. Stratified sampling, you need to know quota sampling and opportunity sampling, also called convenience sampling. And guys, hold on to this, random sampling versus non-random sampling. Why would you do non-random if you don't have a sampling frame? Remember that a sampling frame is an ordered list of all of the members of your population, and sometimes that is impossible to have. If you're trying to get a sense of the average weight of a deer in Richmond Park, you can't close the park, gather all the deer together, give them all a number, and then pick the numbers out of a hat and then pick those deers to sample them, right? You got to go with the first ones. Same thing with the opinions of passersby in a shopping mall. You can't lock the doors, gather everyone in the middle, and give them numbers. There are people constantly moving in and out, so it's impossible to get a complete sampling frame, which means you have to go non-random. People forget about the sampling frame, and I really wish they wouldn't. So thanks for getting me onto that. That's super important last minute stuff. Yeah, more about the MEI paper 1. Large data set, it's not that bad. Just do it. You're fine. Yeah, you're right about that. MEI is not too bad now in paper 3. Curves, bunch of curve stuff. Do I think it's fair that non-further math students have to compete against further math students who skyrocket the grade boundaries? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised about the further math people who prioritize the further math and go, single is going to be easy, and then forget all the little details and then get A's. I do think it's kind of fair because they kind of done the work and they're kind of at the level where they do that and the further math. And if they can, then they should. You know what I mean? It's still totally possible for people without further maths to get A's and A stars. I have them in my cohort. Oh, you are very, very welcome. This has been also, it's been really good fun, like genuinely good fun. I really like the sort of groove I settled into with the sort of like do a past paper with one and then just do more chatty stream, more of like a seminar thing when it came to the physics content. And then once we were in exam season, getting these debriefs in to kind of find out how they were going. I like the groove that I settled into, right? And if you guys have any others, well, mind you, granted, a lot of you I'm about to lose. This is fine. I accept this. But yeah, I like always open to suggestions apart from thumbnails. Like I'll get thumbnails done this summer. But yeah, no, always happy to sort of like work out how to optimize this and make it the most useful. Like that's why I did the MEIs, because people were like in the comments like, do MEI, we need MEI. So always open to sort of thank you for saying that it's sort of helped. Glad to have helped. Always happy to do more. Thing with further math and normal math is that the content is different between the two papers. Quite right about that. You don't do physics, but you see people saying if you do physics, it gives you an advantage in mechanics. Do you agree? Yes, I do. The two are very, very related, but I more think it's the mechanics that helps your physics than the other way around. Ah! Glad to see. To think that I can make physics understandable is one thing, but to make it exciting, now you've really complimented me. Yeah, doing physics. No, it's more the math that helps the physics rather than the other way around. They do actually. Do you know what's really weird is if you do physics and further math, then in your further mechanics, it gets really trippy because they handle Hooke's law and elasticity entirely differently. And it's not very helpful. So I much preferred the physics approach than the further math approach, not gonna lie. Alrighty, guys. I think I'm gonna wrap there to give myself 5 minutes to recover the throat before I start a 2-hour, well, 2 sessions back to back. But yeah, no, I just wanted to pop in and say, glad you guys have done well. Get yourselves over the line, right? You have worked hard. Don't sort of get complacent now. You've just got one more to push through, 2 if you're unlucky. Get to the other side and then just celebrate. Just celebrate your freedom. This is probably for a lot of you going to be like the best summer of your lives. So yeah, there's a lot you got to look forward to on the other side of this. So just one more, really lock down those grades and then carry on to the other side. You are very, very welcome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for showing up. And thanks for being such an active chat and a supportive chat, I'll say as well. Like a lot of you guys sort of like making each other feel better. Like you guys are all in it together, right? You are all in the arena. And I like the fact that you guys are sort of like as sort of helpful to each other. Like it's not just sort of me, it's also you guys. And I think that's really important, especially in like a sort of small, sort of starting up sort of little online community, setting the right culture. Like you guys have been doing that in the Discord and elsewhere. So thank you very much for showing up in the way that you have, making this worthwhile, making this fun for me to do, and being so responsive in the comments and not just having me like, you know what I mean? Like, do you guys remember Zoom class? Do you remember blank screens and no one responding to the teacher? That's not you guys. And thank you, because it makes it very, very like fun for me to do. So thank you for making it something I look forward to doing. So hopefully you guys go ahead, get the grades you deserve. I will see you guys certainly in August. And I think we're going to get a new set in for the ESAT and the TMUA. Some of you might already be here. But for those of you who are finishing up your A-levels, I will see you guys in August. And I really hope it's a fun day for us to celebrate. Yeah, bad. Any streams in between? Yes. But so the whole of the summer, I'm going to be streaming for ESAT and TMUA, because the second the summer exams finish, you get right on that cycle. So guys, I'm so excited to do the ESAT speed training. Like I'm going to be doing like GCSE math papers, like hands on my head, mental math, like as fast as humanly possible. and like anything I can do to challenge myself and demonstrate how to push that speed further. So that I'm so looking forward to it. Oh, some stuff on pre-uni stuff could be really fun. That's not a bad idea. Although do you guys would you want that like before or after results day? Because that feels like a sort of post results day thing. Like congratulations, you've got the offer. Here's what to do, or maybe even sort of like in that last week of August going into September. AQA level 2 further math because they have a non-calc. Okay, interesting. After results day, I agree. I think it's a good idea. But right, thank you very much, guys. Go do good things. Get the grades you deserve. Freedom! One more for glory! I'll see you guys on the other side. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.